know that. You only had the dog 6 weeks.
A new owner sees what he wants.
Tails were wagging, no barks, no growling.
It happened so quickly. He had already bitten her and had her in his mouth.
To me, it still wasn't like a vicious attack.
There's no question that your dog injured hers.
This is Judge Judy. Gemma Koster is suing fellow dog owner Michael Daniels for vet bills resulting from an attack at a dog park.
Judge, this is case number 43 on the calendar in the matter of Costa versus Daniels. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Costner, it is your claim that the defendant's dog attacked your dog in a dog park.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Daniels?
Yes.
Says that actually your dog was the one that nipped at his first, and you should have been taking your dogs to an area specifically designed for smaller animals. Tell me when this incident took place.
It took place on Friday, July 31st. It was probably about 4:45-ish.
Had you been to this dog park before?
Yes, I've gone multiple times. I take my dogs probably 3 to 4 times a week, about the same time every day.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have 2 terrier mixes. So one is a rat terrier Boston terrier mix, and the other is a Chihuahua rat terrier mix.
Give me approximate weights on each.
Ellie is about 20. He's 15 pounds.
Reasonable size. What kind of dog do you have, Mr. Daniels?
I have a golden lab mix named Jack.
And about how much does he weigh?
About 91 pounds, according to his last vet visit.
How old is he?
We were told he was 3 years old, Your Honor, when we rescued him back in June.
So you rescued him in June. This happened within about a month of your becoming his new owners.
Correct, about 6 weeks.
So I would assume that you had not been to this dog park frequently before.
Not frequently. We've went the prior 2 weeks prior to this third visit.
Is there, Mr. Daniels, a separate area for large dogs and small dogs that is marked in the dog park?
Yes, Your Honor, clearly marked on the gates of both entrances.
Is that right?
There's a sign that has a recommended weight limit, correct, not a required limit.
Okay, but what is the recommended weight limit for small dogs?
I believe it's 30 pounds for the large side and under 30 pounds for the small side.
Are they fenced in any way?
Yes, the 2 areas are fenced in separately, correct.
Could you tell me why you didn't take your 2 small dogs into the small dog area?
So actually, we tend to go on both sides, so we've taken them onto both areas.
The question was a simple one. I have small dogs, and if there's a dog area that is suggested for small dogs, I would certainly one where there are much larger dogs. As a dog owner for 60 years, it's just would be my preference, and there's a certain wisdom to that. That's why they separate the areas large and small. So I'm just curious as to why you took your 2 small dogs into the large dog area.
Honestly, I've done it for a long time, and Ellie enjoys playing with larger dogs. You know, she's 22 pounds, but she's pretty tall, so she likes to play with bigger dogs. And there are way more details to this story that really show that, honestly, the size of my dog has nothing to do with this, and I would love to share those details.
I'm going to let you. I'm just curious as to why, and I'm certainly interested in hearing the details of what you have to tell me. But you're the parent of the 2 dogs, just like you're the parent of children. And if you take 2 toddlers into a toddler pool, and if you take older children who are a little more rough and tumble, I would tend to take my toddler into an area where there were other toddlers, so that if they fell or if they were pushed or something, they would be shoved or pushed by someone of an appropriate size so that they wouldn't be hurt. And I sort of feel the same way about dogs. If you have a 100-pound dog as opposed to a 15-pound dog, a 100-pound dog can cause a great deal of damage to a parent would want to exercise due caution. That's what I'm suggesting to you. That doesn't mean that the defendant wasn't at fault. I'll hear you. I'm just talking to you about you being the parent. The dog doesn't have any choice about where to go, just like a toddler doesn't have any choice as to where to go. The parent puts the child in a position. And if you put your child in a position where they can get seriously injured because they are tiny and the other kids are bigger, well, that's your responsibility. So now you're going to explain to me how it's Mr. Daniels' responsibility to pay for the vet bills when he had his big dog in the big dog area.
Sure, absolutely. So, you know, on that day, as per usual, I took them to the park. They played a little bit on the smaller side. They went back onto the bigger side where we've interacted with similar dogs.
Just a second.
Yes.
Ms. Costa, you're going very fast. When you say you took them to the bigger side. In order to get them to the bigger side, do you have to go out the smaller side and purposely go into another gate to go into the larger side?
Yes.
So you left the small side, you went to the big side. And?
Correct. And we entered the park. Ellie is the one who was hurt, and she's 22 pounds, just to clarify. So she went off and played. They played park. So after she had played and interacted with the dogs who were there, who she knows, I went to sit in the chairs that are directly across from the entrance. And both Ellie and Prance were sitting next to me. And because I'm facing the entrance, I can see people who are coming in and out of the park. So I did see Mr. Daniels enter the park with his dog, take his dog off the leash. A lot of the dogs were congregated in a shade area. He went over, that dog went over, they played for a little bit, and then pretty quickly his dog focused on a whippet dog, and that dog sort of started to scream and get scared and start to run towards the gate. I watched his dog chase that dog towards the gate. Other dogs followed, as dogs do in parks. The owners came, the owners took their dog, left the park, and I believe he took
the owner of the whippet.
Yes, correct.
Just the owner of the whippet came and took his dog and left.
Correct. And Mr. Daniels had his dog by the collar. He let go of his dog, and his dog ran very quickly towards the opposite end of the park, probably about 15 to 20 feet from where I was sitting. And he sort of immediately started to growl and be aggressive towards a larger Australian Shepherd dog.
My dog's never growled in his life, Your Honor. That's not incorrect.
Just a second, Mr. Daniels.
Okay.
Don't the dog 6 weeks.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I watched as his dog sort of acted aggressively towards this Australian Shepherd. The owner picked up the Shepherd. You know, it was a big dog, but he picked him up, to try to separate him. Once again, Mr. Daniels had his dog.
Just a second.
No.
Yes.
Ms. Costa, just a second.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
I told you not to interrupt.
Okay.
They hadn't been fighting.
They had not made contact. They were barking at each other very aggressively.
Correct.
Correct.
They were barking.
Very
Correct.
aggressively, yes.
That's not a...
Fine.
Sorry.
They were barking very aggressively. You're interrupting again, which is irritating.
Sorry, Your Honor.
So now, and?
Okay, so at that point, I said, no, this is not right. This does not look like it's going to go well. I'm going to take my dogs and leave. So I have a split leash to keep the two dogs on. So I put them both on the leash. I stood up. I started to walk towards the gate. I didn't get very far, probably 10 feet, and his dog ran over towards mine, again, barking aggressively. And so I tried to put my foot sort of in between the two dogs and pull my dog back on the leash to separate.
Which dog? You
Ellie.
had two dogs.
Yes, so Ellie, the terrier, she's the 22-pound dog. And so she's the one who interacted with his dog, and his dog was barking.
Okay.
And so
now, when his dog, just a second.
yes, absolutely.
Ms. Costa, when he was barking, did Ellie bark?
After he growled the second time,
Mr.
yes.
Costa, so his dog barked and growled once, and then Ellie started to bark.
Yes.
Now the two dogs are barking at each other.
Correct. So
Just a second. So you have a 22-pound dog barking at a 90-pound dog.
yes.
Are they facing each other?
Yes.
And you have yours on a leash.
Correct.
And Mr. Daniels does not have his on a leash.
Correct.
Is there any reason why you didn't pick Ellie up?
So
As soon as you saw his dog start to come over to where you were...
It happened so...
I'm
so sorry.
It happened so... You started to say it happened so quickly.
Yes. It happened so quickly,
Go
I
ahead.
could not get down to pick her up. He had already bitten her and had her in his mouth.
You lost me at that they were two dogs facing each other and barking at each other. And then you said it all happened so quickly. The Golden had the terrier in his mouth.
Your Honor, barking at each other, it's a split second of barking. I mean, it was probably 4 seconds from when the dog started barking, Ellie started barking, I pulled back on the leash to try to separate them, and immediately his dog was...
Tell me what you saw, Mr. Daniels.
Sure. When I first got to the park, I let Jack off the leash, and he ran in the back with the other dogs. They kind of congregated near the back area. And tails were wagging, tongue was out, no barks, no growling. And then my dog looked at the, she said it was a whippet. I thought it was an Italian Greyhound. Either way, the dog was probably 10 pounds dripping wet. And it did. It sounded like a squeaky toy. And it started to run, and all
But
the dogs...
it was also a small dog.
It should not have been there. Absolutely, Your Honor. So
it should not have been there.
All the dogs chased him, and that's where she's referring to the incident of my dog showing signs of aggression, which I completely disagree with.
Okay, and then?
So me and another guy, we kind of ran towards the dogs because we were chasing along with it because, obviously we want to stop the situation. So he got there first. He picked up the small dog over his head and kind of, did one of these. And sure, it had some dust on it, but there was no... And during that time frame, there was no growling, bare teeth, no aggressive behavior. It was a dog playing chase.
It was sufficient, Mr. Daniels. It was sufficient so that the owner of the small dog, who I don't think belonged in that park,
agreed,
went over to his dog, picked it up, checked it out to make sure it wasn't injured, because maybe his dog had gotten into some sort of a kerfuffle with your dog.
It's possible. I don't believe so, because there was about 6 or 7 other dogs in that area, and he wasn't the dog owner. He was just a guy who was trying to stop.
Mr. Daniels.
Yes?
Try not to zig and zag.
Okay.
This is my business.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You said Jack went over to the plaintiff's dog in a friendly way and just tried to sniff her. The plaintiff's dog panicked, and it snapped and lunged at Jack's nose.
That's what it appeared.
That's not what you just told me.
Gemma Coster says a dog owned by Michael Daniels attacked and injured her terrier, Ellie.
Okay, you ran over there with the owner of the 10-pound dog because you wanted to make sure that there was no damage done, not by the whippet to your dog, but by your dog to the whippet. Is that a fair statement?
Sure.
Okay, so now you are aware of the fact that, well, you should be alerted to the fact that your dog
Your Honor,
has the capacity of the whippet.
If I didn't chase after my dog during that incident, I would be a negligent dog owner. Of course I want to... If you heard a squeaky dog...
That's not what I said to you, sir.
Okay.
Now you are in a position so that you know that your dog has the capacity to not only cause concern to you, so that you ran over there, but to the owner of the small dog.
That wasn't his dog.
That's clear that you were aware of that. So were you.
Yes.
That's when you should have left the park. According to you, what you saw was this dog being aggressive towards a small dog that already really wasn't supposed to be in that area, and you had 2 small dogs. Now, if I had my 2 small dogs in the large dog area, and I saw another small dog being potentially the victim of a larger aggressive dog, that's when I would say, you know what? I'm getting out of this large dog area. I'm taking my dog back to the small dog area where the largest dog can't be more than 30 pounds. That's what I would have done as the parent. That's your responsibility. The dog can't take himself or herself to the small dog park. Just as he saw that aggressive behavior, so did you. Now, how much after this aggressive behavior was there some sort of Mr. Daniels kerfuffle with another dog, where another owner picked their dog up and left? Come on. Was it a minute? Was it 2 minutes? Was it 3 minutes? Was it 5 minutes?
Well, I don't actually remember the incident with the dog that she's talking about.
If you don't remember it, I'll let her describe it to me. How much time elapsed between the first incident that you saw and the second?
Less than a minute. He had let go of his dog, and it immediately ran to the other end of the park and got into the altercation with the second dog.
Okay. So now, Mr. Daniels, you want to describe to me the interaction as you saw it between Miss Coster's dog, Ellie, terrier, and your dog?
Sure.
Were you there?
Yeah, I was walking back from the incident with the smaller dog, and Jack was back playing with the other dogs, and it was about the time when I had walked back there. It's about 150 feet. And when I got to that area, I'm walking towards my dog, and there's a skirmish, a scuffle. There's 2 dogs, and then, boom, it just happened, and it ended with her dog getting bit. He didn't latch onto the dog. It wasn't, like a vicious attack. Unfortunately happened. but to me, it still wasn't like a vicious attack. It was a dog just reacting to another small dog.
Just a second.
Okay.
Actually, what you said to me was, it happened in a split second, because I said, why didn't you pick up your dog? You said the whole thing happened in a split second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you rescue a dog, before you allow that dog to be free in a situation where they can cause injury...
We had 9 training sessions.
The training sessions clearly didn't work.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Gemma Coster claims a dog owned by Michael Daniels attacked her terrier at a dog park.
Now, Mr. Daniels, there's no question that your dog injured hers. And what you said to me in your answer was actually not truthful. You said Jack went over to the plaintiff's dog in a friendly way and just tried to sniff her. Jack is a big dog, so the plaintiff's dog panicked. That's
opinion.
That's what you think. And it snapped and lunged at Jack's nose.
That's what it appeared.
Well, that's not true. That's not... Just a second. That's not what you just told me. That's not what you just told me.
Okay.
So now I want to see the vet bills from Ellie, who I assume is okay. Is that right?
She is now okay, yes, after 3 days in the hospital,
Great.
yes.
Okay. So what are the vet bills?
In case you wanted to see the injury sustained, but I will show you the bills first.
I would like to see the discharge summary as well after I see the bills.
Sure. So I have 2 bills. Do you want me to put them up one at a time?
Yeah, just tell me what the aggregate amount is.
Sure. So the aggregate amount is $4,591.72, and it's the total of 2 bills.
Okay. Now I'm going to see the discharge summary, please.
So here's the discharge summary, and here is the diagnosis of the initial injuries.
Okay. So this is what I think. I think that when you take your dog to a dog park and take it off leash, you assume certain risks. That's why I just never take my dog to a dog park. But I understand a lot of people do. Good for them. But the dog park people are smart enough to say, keep small dogs with small dogs and big dogs with big dogs. I think that it is unwise to place your dog in a situation where they can get this kind of puncture wound and crushed ribs from a dog that is 3 or 4 times its weight. I also think, sir, that when you rescue a dog that is an older dog, a dog that's fully cooked at 3 years old, before you allow that dog to be free in a situation where they can cause injury, you should give it a little more time.
We had 9 training sessions.
Just the training sessions.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, so I actually think that while you are partially responsible, Mr. Daniels, for the injuries that resulted in her dog being hospitalized for 3 days, which was quite a bill because vets are expensive. I also, Ms. Costa, think that you bear some responsibility, and you bear the responsibility of being an overly indulgent parent, because if your 22-pound dog likes to play with big dogs, and you say, well, I'm going to take that risk that my dog could get seriously hurt by a big dog, couldn't get seriously hurt by a 10-pound whippet in the small dog area, but could get hurt by a 3-year-old rescue dog that the person really doesn't know intimately because they haven't raised it since it's a puppy, and they really don't know what its potential is. So you had vet bills of $45.92, and each one of you is going to be responsible for half. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $22.96. Thank you. We're done.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
Shouldn't have been there.
Size has absolutely nothing to do with it. His dog was aggressive.
Things happen, but that's not my fault or my dog's fault.
I'm so happy that she's okay. It was really scary.
Suspicions at the groomer.
I thought it was unusual that she wanted to rush me out with both dogs at the same time.
Then,
What happened when you got home?
There was blood.
a dog owner's shock.
It was a little gruesome. There was a piece of tail missing. It was like sliced. I couldn't believe what I saw.
Ultimately, Marley had to have most of his tail amputated.
This is Judge Judy. Brenda Cornejo is suing dog groomer Diane Layton for vet bills and damages resulting from injuries to her dog, Marley.
Judge, this is case number 84 on the calendar in the matter of Cornejo versus Layton. Parties have been sworn in. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Thanks, Bird. Miss Cornejo, this lovely animal is your dog. How old is the dog?
Marley is almost 7.
Have you had him?
I've had him. I adopted him.
You adopted him when?
It was June 16.
So you've had him about 4 years, a little over 4 years. Do you have any other dog?
Bird, she's a female. Her name is Penny. And they get along really well.
The defendant is a dog groomer, and from your papers, it appears as if you've used her in the past. Have you used her for both dogs in the past, or just this dog's name is Marley?
This is Marley. I've used her for both of my dogs because I would take them together.
Since at least 2016?
Correct.
How often do you take Marley to be groomed?
He gets groomed professionally about every, I would say, 2 to 3 months. It just depends on, how dirty he gets. But I bathe my dogs in between the groomings.
And other than this incident, which brings you to court today, you've been satisfied with her work?
Yes.
Now, according to your complaint, there did come a time, this is the last time that you took Marley to the defendant, that there was an issue.
Yes.
On what date was the last time that you took him for grooming by the defendant?
Yeah, so he was last groomed by Diane Layton on July 21st, 2020.
Prior to July 21st of 2020, had you noticed any injury to the dog's tail?
Absolutely
His
not.
tail? Nothing.
Absolutely not.
What time, if you recall, did you take Marley into Miss Layton to be groomed?
I dropped him off. And then I picked him up a little after 4:30. And so it was a longer than usual time for them to be groomed.
Does the defendant call you to tell you it's time to come and pick up the dogs?
Yes, she has to.
And in the prior 4 years that you've been taking Marley to her for grooming, approximately how long does that grooming session take?
Approximately, let's say like 2 hours.
So this was considerably longer.
Yes, it was unusually longer.
Will you tell me what happened when you went to pick up Marley on the 21st of July?
I got the call that the dogs were ready, and I went up to the counter, and she looked nervous and asked me to take both of my dogs at the same time. And I normally take one at a time because I can't manage, the shepherd and Marley. So I said, no, I can only take one at a time. I thought it was unusual that she wanted to rush me out with both dogs at the same time, but I said, no, I can only take one at a time. So I grabbed Marley first, and then I went from point A to point B. So the door of the grooming to my car, which was parked right in front of the shop. Right before I put him in the car, I did notice like a fresh drop of blood on the side of his body, but I looked and there was no cut. There was nothing there. So I thought it was unusual. But then and because of the way the parking situation is located in front of her shop, there's cars waiting for you. There's only like 2 parking spaces. And so they're waiting for you to move. So
you left?
Yeah, so it was very quick.
Left. What happened when you got home?
I picked them up by myself. Usually my son accompanies me, but as soon as I got home, he was out there waiting to help me bring the dogs down. And I parked, and he took both dogs through the side of the house to the backyard. And he was playing with them outside.
Were you watching them?
I was watching him outside of the porch door, and he was playing with them there.
So you were watching?
Uh-huh.
Okay, continue.
So he was under the porch playing with the dogs, and it was momentarily, and then he screamed, and he yelled out, "Mom, the dog's bleeding," and, he was, like scared. So I went out there, and I looked at Marley, and I couldn't believe what I saw. It was a little gruesome. There was a piece of tail missing. It was sliced. There was blood that apparently had restarted bleeding. There was bone and flesh. I couldn't believe it. I was in a bit of a shock, seeing my dog in this condition.
I want to go back for a moment. When you took Marley from the defendant's shop, you said you saw a drop of...
Oh, because I didn't see any visible cuts on that side, I didn't know where it was coming from. Once I went outside to the porch and I assessed the dog and I saw him wagging his tail, and because the bleeding had restarted, he was, wagging the tail and flipping it to the side of his body. So, of course, the blood was coming from the tail and landing on the side of his body.
And that's why we're here, because the dog was, in fact, injured. We'll get to where and how that happened. You had substantial vet bills, and ultimately, Marley had to have most of his tail amputated.
Correct.
That's why you're here.
Correct.
The defendant has a whole other menu of excuses as to why this didn't happen as a result of her, but happened as a result of probably your neglect. So after you saw what happened, I assume you took the dog directly to your local vet, to the vet that you use.
Correct. There was no delay. So I called the vet, and unfortunately, it was almost closing time.
What did you do?
So I frantically started searching for another vet because I called my vet, and they said, we don't have any appointments.
So you found an emergency vet?
Yes.
I would just like to see the vet's report and bill. First, the report, if you would.
So they gave me this. This is what they gave me.
Okay. Your bandage?
They did a clip and clean, and they did IV antibiotics. They placed a bandage and e-collar. They gave him
Did she go
antibiotics.
back? I can read. Did you take the dog back to another vet subsequently?
So this was the original vet visit, and we kept in touch.
Listen to me. The answer is either yes or no. Did you take the dog back to another vet or the same vet?
I took him back to the same vet until the 28th.
Okay. I would like to see the other bills and reports from the same vet.
So
this one was
so that's
$400.
the first one. And then there was a recheck here for pain medication. And the rechecks aren't billed, so it's just rechecks. They gave me...
I understand. I'm reading it. Don't tell me what they said.
Okay.
And that was on what date, the 28th?
Yes.
Did you take the dog back to this vet or to your regular vet the next time?
I took him back to my regular vet as a second opinion.
On what date?
On
what date?
29th, and I have a note.
May I see it, please?
Yes. So they actually gave me an exam note.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Sorry.
But
he was...
Just give me the date. I see that the dog was not eating.
On the 29th of the morning was the second opinion from my
Yes.
vet. And then...
I see that.
And within an hour,
I see
took
that.
him...
When was the next?
On the same day. The same day his tail was amputated with surgical intervention
At what vet?
True Care for Pets. It's an emergency pet center.
May I see the write-up and the bill for that,
Yes.
please?
So this shows...
Don't tell me what it shows. Just put it down. And can I see the bill for that, please?
Yes, so... Here it is.
Okay. And now Marley is fine. Look, he has a shorter tail.
Yes.
Looks perfectly happy.
Yeah.
Okay. But he wasn't for a long time. All right, Miss Layton, tell me what happened on the 21st of July.
On the 21st, she came in around 11 o'clock, and we start taking our dogs in at 7 o'clock, so she was one of the last dogs we took for the day, so that's why they were there so long. I have a copy of Marley's card that we write everything on as they come in, as I do on every dog we do, and it shows Marley has been having trouble with that tail since 2018.
2018?
Yes.
And what kind of trouble has Marley been having with the tail?
We have been taking fly eggs off the end of that tail.
Explain that. Look at me. You've been doing what? Explain to me what you've been doing.
When we put him in the bathtub and the big crust is there, it's full of fly eggs. So when we have him in the tub, we soak them all off, clean it all up, and each year it has progressively gotten worse and worse and worse. And she's done nothing about it up until the day that it was so bad that it really bled.
Your Honor, that's incorrect,
Okay.
and I can show you proof.
Just a second. I would like you to show me on her card, starting in 2018, where you document that.
You want 2018 only?
No, well, I want to start with 2018, where you document the fact that you told her that this was a problem and that she's done nothing about it. But that's the tip of the tail.
Yes.
That doesn't require any surgical removal. She had, according to you, fly eggs that were crusted, and you soaked it, and you removed the eggs and continued with the grooming.
Yes, the problem with it is when they leave the fly eggs for that long, they get a bacterial infection, and the tail will not heal without antibiotics. And it just has progressively gotten worse and worse.
Your Honor, can I show proof?
Just a second. I would like you to point to me what you're talking about. Okay, and read it to me.
Okay, August 9th of 2000.
Tell me what it says.
It says...
Read exactly what it says in
Okay.
2018.
She takes a 7 on the body, which makes the dog bald, which makes him more susceptible to flies.
Okay, no. Just read what it says.
7, everything. Number 10 on muzzle. Had bloody tail.
Wait just a second. Had bloody
Your Honor, she forged that card and I
tail.
can show
Just a second. I don't want to hear you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I only want you to read me what you did, not your groomer. That's hearsay. Are any of them here today?
I didn't bring any. I thought the card was good enough. It has their initials and their signatures.
How do I know who they are?
Brenda Cornejo is accusing dog groomer Diane Layton of lacerating her dog's tail during a grooming appointment. Brenda says the tail was amputated as a result.
Okay, read what it says, please. I can't read your handwriting.
This is one of my groomers. Had bloody tail
Well,
after bath. I did not do...
No. That's it. Just a second. I only want you to read me what you did, not your groomer.
These are all what different groomers have done to Marley. Every one of these.
Just a second. Miss,
Well, most of them. I only have 6 now because of COVID.
but most of these groomers work for you. I'm not reading what they said. That's hearsay. I can't read what they observed. Are any of them here today?
I didn't bring any. I thought the card was good enough. It has their initials and their signatures.
How do I know who they are? Maybe you wrote that. Maybe your sister wrote it. Maybe your friend
I
wrote
can
it.
show you cards.
That's the way courts work. Courts have to have witnesses that they can examine, and they can describe what you meant. That if you said you saw a bloody tail, explain to me what you meant by bloody tail. I have to be able to ask a witness. Do you
I have
understand what
cards
this is?
on... Yeah, I do, but I have cards on every dog we do, and every dog, everything is noted. Everything. That's what this catalog is.
Your Honor, can I show proof of
Can
her
I
false
see?
statement?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm discarding it anyway, but if you want to tell me why it's false, you can.
So her statement is completely false because she's claiming that since 2018 he had a condition or a tail problem or supposed bleeding, which aside from the pictures that are dated from 2017 to the present of February 2020, I have my witness who has seen my dogs. Her kids have played with my dogs.
Hello, Your Honor.
Tell me your name.
My name is Tia Weinstein.
Ms. Weinstein, when was the last time that you saw Marley just prior to his having his tail amputated?
Probably in February 2020 when we just have the dogs come out and play with the kids in our cul-de-sac.
How many times have you seen Marley play between 2017 and February of 2020?
Numerous times. Too many times to count.
More than 10?
Yes, more than 10, 20, 30. It's literally a weekly thing.
Are you neighbors?
We are neighbors.
Have you ever seen injury to the dog's tail?
Never.
Have you ever seen Marley biting or scratching or biting his tail?
No, not at all.
And between 2016 and 2020, did the plaintiff ever complain prior to July 21st about Miss Layton's care of either one of her dogs?
No, never. She's never complained about any type of grooming.
Okay, very good. Anything else either one of you want to show me?
I would like to show you some pictures of fly bites on a dog that we just did this last week.
Was it this dog?
No, it was not, but it shows you what kind of damage.
I'm sorry.
Just a second. Just a minute. I'm not interested in pictures of another dog with fly bites. What else do you have?
I just have what I sent you showing that this dog has had trouble all along.
Okay, good. What else do you want to show me?
I would
Tell
like
me
to
first
show
what it is.
you the Yelp reviews of Silmar
Thank you, Ms.
Grooming.
Weinstein. Not interested. What else?
And I have the copies of the medical expenses of what Marley went through and the pictures of the stages of the tail in different conditions because of this accident.
Oh, well, I'd like to see pictures of the different conditions. That I would like to see, because I already have the numbers.
This is the picture of July 21st and how it looked.
Okay.
This is a picture of how they left him patched up in different areas of his body, so which tells me that they probably struggled
Don't
with
tell me
it.
what to tell. Don't listen to me. You want to volunteer a lot of information that you're not allowed to do. Just show me a picture. I draw my own conclusions about what the photograph represents.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So I had to lose income because of this 2-month healing process. I called in sick. I gave away shifts.
Terrible accident.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Brenda Cornejo says dog groomer Diane Layton severely injured her dog Marley during a grooming appointment.
Okay, what are you showing me now?
This is the condition of the tail. So these are stages of how the tail progressed from the date of injury to the healing process that took about 2 months after being amputated.
Just a second. Where was the cut? Just show me where the cut was that you're alleging, because I assume
Right here.
that you went outside and you saw the cut.
It's right here, ma'am.
Now, where
Your
on the tail was that cut?
On the tip, Your Honor.
Show me the other picture. Is that when he first came home?
July 21st is this picture. This is right after grooming. This is the date of injury.
Okay.
That's July
Got
21st.
it. So that's what it looked like.
Yes.
Okay, now I got it. All right, your vet bills are $3,110.
No.
That's what I have, $400.32 and $26.78. Are there any other bills?
Yes, Your Honor.
Show me the other vet bills.
So these are all of the bills from True Care for Pets surgery. So it's that one.
What is that for?
That's bandage.
See? Next.
And I have another 98. Then I
ahead.
have another 90.
Wound repair. That's on 8/12.
Then I have another 32.50.
I already added that $32 in, madam.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by Want Justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, anything else?
Yes. So this is a whole packet here. So this is the main surgery.
I already have that.
Okay. And then there's this one.
Anything else? I have $33.58. Do you work, Ms. Corneo?
Yes, ma'am. I have 2 jobs. I'm a pediatric
Just a
oncology
second.
nurse.
Just a minute. $6.78. I've got that already. Next. Come on.
Okay. Did you get this one?
Who took the dog to the vet?
I took him to the vet on all occasions. So I had to lose income because of this 2-month healing process. I called in sick. I gave away shifts. I took unpaid time.
It's $33.58. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
The ski passes turned out to be fraudulent.
We are all in the same exact position.
You have to find the person that duped you if you were a dope that got duped.
Judge Judy.
Didn't strike one up for the groomers. We get blamed for a lot.
I think the decision was appropriate and fair.
I told them 3 separate times to get that dog to the vet, and they totally ignored it.
It's hurtful, but it's false. They're well taken care of.
How can I be sorry it happened? We didn't do it.
Take pictures before and after you drop off your dog. Inspect them thoroughly.
Groomers never win.
Mine is a happy dog, and I'm glad that he survived.
A roommate moves out,
All of the bills were in my name. She owes me for all of them.
but she can't move on.
She had an altercation with the other roommate.
Getting a dog that she complained about.
Yes, that's what happened.
She parked her car in such a way that you could not get your car out. And you also think she's responsible. Get real.
This is Judge Judy. Caitlin Zimbardi is suing her former roommate, 24-year-old Brittany Hill, for rent, utility bills, and damage to her car. Brittany is countersuing for harassment and emotional distress.
Judge, this is case number 148 on the calendar in the matter of Zimbardi versus Hill. Parties have been sworn in. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Thank you, Bert. Ms. Zimbardi, the defendant was a roommate of yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it is your claim, she's no longer a roommate of yours, that she owes you for rent. The rent you are alleging she owes you was someone else's rent. You understand that it is your claim that the defendant had an argument with one of your other roommates. Because of the argument, which you believe she initiated, the other roommate moved out, and you believe because she was responsible for that argument, she should pay that roommate's share of the rent.
Yes, Your Honor, that's true.
Am I getting that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's your first claim.
Correct.
Your second claim is that at some point while she was your roommate, she parked her car in such a way that you...
That's true.
Your parking spot. I'm just trying to get this all down right. You knocked at her door to tell her to move her car. She did not respond. So you went back to your car and tried to maneuver around her car and broke your mirror.
Yes, that's
in
what
the
happened.
process.
Correct.
And you also think she's responsible for that.
Yes, because if she
so
wouldn't
those
have
are the two things.
Yes.
Yes.
If she wouldn't have been parked behind me, I could have gotten out easily.
And your counterclaim is that she made your life miserable as a roommate.
Yes, Your Honor.
Something about you getting a dog that she complained about, and I don't care. Neither does the law.
Right.
Okay, whether she reported you for having a dog and that would upset you, and nobody cares about that. So your counterclaim is dismissed. I'm going to dismiss your claim as well, but I may let you tell
There's
me
additional
why you
claims.
why you think she's responsible for your other roommate's rent, okay?
Yes. It was considered a
5
house.
5 minutes of my time.
Okay, the rent was considered a house rent. We had all moved in together September 1st of 2019. None of us had known each other. And in that other roommate, she had texted her she doesn't want her to move in, even though we tried to have a conversation about making things smooth so we can continue living together. I have text messages showing that she told her, I don't want you to move in, and I don't like you. You have a bad attitude. And from another roommate, which the same thing happened, that she was speaking to Brittany. She got bad responses from Brittany. She was rude to her, and she also didn't want to move in. And so then when the rent was due, I was the one who had to cover the $1,100. She said that because it was her fault that she would pay me back for it.
Well, I'd like to see somewhere, because do you acknowledge, Ms. Hill, that you agreed to pay her back for roommates that didn't move in?
Absolutely not. I'm not a subletter.
Okay,
I'm on the lease.
listen to what I'm saying. Just answer my question.
Sure.
Do you have anything in writing from her where she acknowledges that she will pay the rent for other people because they didn't move in because she said she didn't like them?
No, I don't have that in writing. I do have the in writing of her telling the roommate not to move in.
I don't need that.
Okay.
That's not an issue. She still wouldn't be responsible for their rent.
Well, it is a household rent, and our landlord has claimed...
Well, you are, but she doesn't owe you for anything. She owes the landlord. So now let me understand this. I just want to understand. The other roommates didn't move in. She doesn't live there anymore. Is that right? She doesn't live there anymore.
She just moved out this month.
Or does she?
No.
Up until the time she moved out, was she paying her rent?
No, she stopped paying rent
Was
in
she
March
paying?
of 2020. That's not part of the claim. I'm at my main
Good.
claim request
Just
is back owed utility bills.
All right. Well, then let's get real, because
Okay.
she doesn't owe you for somebody else's rent, and she doesn't owe you because you couldn't back out your car.
If that was even
That's
true.
on you. You got to take responsibility. Just a second. I don't need your help. I've been doing this job a long time. If you, because of your misjudgment, have an accident, that's on you. That's not on her because she didn't move her car.
I understand, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, what you're suing her for, if what you're telling me is utilities, up until last month. Last month was, she moved out in November? November what? Did
I
you
moved
move
out
when?
December
November
5th.
what? Okay. And what utility bills are you referencing specifically?
I have 2 LADWP bills, 1 SoCal gas bill, and 1 Spectrum bill. All of the bills were in my name. So she owes me for all of them.
Okay. And During the prior time that you were living there, are you together?
At times 4, at times 3 because of COVID. One had moved out.
So she owes 25% of the utility bills. What are the total of the utility bills that were outstanding through December 5th that she didn't pay?
She owes $531.61.
I want to know what the total was of the utility bills through when she moved out December 5th. Not what you say her share is. My question was specific.
Well, I moved out in October, so that's when the bills are from.
You moved out in October.
Yes.
Leaving her there, and she didn't pay rent until March. Okay, so now let me see the utility bills. You acknowledge, Ms. Hill, that they were all in Ms. Zimbardi's name.
Yes.
And you are responsible for 25% of whatever is due and owing on those utility bills.
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay, so now let's see the final invoice of the utility bills. Give me the amount so that I don't have to look at it. The total amount due and owing on your last bill. First, the date of the first bill.
Well, the first bill was from September, and that's the total amount.
Well, did she pay that in September? You were all living
No.
there in September.
She didn't pay that.
When was the last time you paid?
September, I told her that I had to get my car fixed. My unemployment was backed up.
Okay, so she owes 25% of $1,030.
Well, I have 3 more bills.
Just a second.
Okay.
So far.
And at the time, there was only 3 of us living there. So we each paid a
I
third.
don't care.
Okay.
Okay, what's next?
The other LADWP
What's the next
bill
bill?
was the final bill after I moved out we received because it's a quarterly bill.
Okay, hold on. What's next?
This is our SoCal gas bill from that month.
What's next?
Spectrum bill, our internet, $65.
Next?
That was the last one.
Great. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $365. Your counterclaim has already been dismissed. This case is over. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I think I was just living with a crazy person for the past year.
She has no goals in life, so maybe that's why there's so many problems between us.
She got an untrained puppy that she wanted to clean up after.
He's completely fine and just needed some training like any other puppy does.
I'm definitely going to do better vetting job.
I'm glad to put this behind me.
All parties in the matter of Savage versus Bergeron. Step to the podium, please.
Thomas and Marcy are failing to pay for 2 bird cages.
Mr. and Mrs. Savage, this is what I understand. Both you and your husband, as well as the defendant, are collectors of exotic birds. Had that as a hobby for many years. For some reason, you decided that you were no longer going to pursue the hobby, and you had acquired over the course of this hobby bird cages and a large outdoor aviary in your backyard, which is just a huge bird cage. Do you have photographs of those things, by the way?
Yes, we do.
May I see them, please? Just so I can get an idea of what I'm talking about.
Here's a picture of one of the cages that was purchased.
And you had 2. Were they similar?
The second one is larger and has, let me take this one down. And the other one looks like this, yet it's white and it's larger, but the structure and
now,
the...
you bought these cages new, I assume, for
Yes.
your large birds. Now I want to see a picture of the outdoor aviary.
This is current day aviary.
Okay. It was in November of 2019 when you met the defendant birds. According to you, he agreed to buy 2 of the large bird cages, the ones that you showed me that were inside of your house, and he agreed to buy them for $1,000. He came, he picked them up. He didn't have the $1,000. He gave you his word that he would pay you $250 a month until it was paid off. You didn't know him from a hole in the wall, but you agreed to that. Didn't hear from him for a long time. Finally, he got in touch, and he sent you $100. In total, over several months, he sent you a total of $300, and then nothing else.
Judge Judy, we received
yes.
$200.
Only 2?
Yes.
$200.
That's correct.
Right. First payment was missed. He said his daughter needed braces. He missed another payment. He said, claimed his wife Ann had a stroke. December, he sent you a payment. and he sent another $100 the end of January, and then he just stopped paying for them.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you picked up the cages,
It was supposed to be
how much was your agreement?
$200.
And when were the payments supposed to start? Is not an answer.
Closed captioning is provided by are suing Trent Bergeron for failing to pay for 2 bird cages.
Okay. Now, the defendant says that he agreed to take the 2 cages and the outdoor aviary. And then a lot of excuses, a lot of reasons, and then COVID hit, and he said, just forget it. We don't want that big outdoor aviary, which looks like a piece of junk anyway. When you bought the 2 bird cages, do you recall how many years ago you bought them?
Approximately in 2001 on one of the cages. Later on, we replaced it with another cage in about 2010 or 11. But these were all indoor.
I want to know what you paid for the 2 cages that the defendant took.
One of them we paid $900 for. That was the beige large one. The dome cage we paid approximately $698. Now, there was a third piece that they had taken, which was a wrought iron indoor perch.
It was a standing perch for feeding.
And how much did you pay for that?
That perch was $298.
Okay. And all of these things were purchased over a 20-year period. Is that what you're telling me?
That is correct.
Okay. So in total, over a 20-year period, you paid approximately, if I believe it was.
That is correct.
Okay. Well, what your statement is, sir, is that they agreed to sell you what for how much?
Okay, it was...
I just want to hear.
Okay, it was the 2 cages, the outdoor aviary, the perch, and then there was miscellaneous bowls and like...
For how much?
1,000.
Look at me.
1,000.
Okay. And you took the perch, and you took the 2 cages.
Yes, ma'am.
And you paid nothing.
We agreed to do payments.
Well, you agreed to do payments, sir, because you came to pick up the stuff with no money.
Well, our agreement was...
You came... No. Was your initial agreement that you were going to make payments? Or did you come to pick up the cages with just no money and say, I'll make payments?
No, our agreement was to make payments.
Okay. You picked up the cages, the 2 cages and the perch, in what month?
It was November.
November of 2019.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much were you supposed to pay each month?
At first it was $200, and then with everything that was going on with my...
No, not everything. Just a second. When you picked up the cages, it
was supposed to be...
How much was your agreement?
$200.
And when were the payments supposed to start?
All in month.
That's December.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you pay the $200 in December?
We didn't. She said 100 would be sufficient.
No, just a second. You didn't. Did you call her and tell her that you couldn't make the $200 payment? Did you call her?
Yes, I did.
And tell her that you couldn't make... You did.
Yes.
Did he call you?
Yes, after I contacted him via text.
Okay, so you contacted him.
Correct.
On what date did you contact him?
The contract was signed November 17th, 2019. And then...
Do you have a copy of the contract?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please?
And I take that back. Trent did call on November 21st, and he claimed he was unable to make the first payment due to his daughter needed braces and he had too many bills.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Before you try to sell it to anybody, clean it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Thomas and Marcy Savage are suing Trent Bergeron for failing to pay for 2 bird...
He just scammed you, is really all. He owes you $800. He paid you $200. He agreed to pay you $1,000 for all of them. That's what he owes you. You're not supposed to do that to nice people, sir. You're not supposed to take the property that you don't intend to pay for. We're done. $800, judgment for the plaintiff.
Right. This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Money's hard to come up with these days.
I feel it was very fair.
We tried bringing back the cages.
They had a passion for birds, such as we did, and we would work with him as best we could.
It's over.
I am sorry for them, but it has to do with integrity.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter are Roberts versus Bamberry. Step forward.
Jessica Roberts is suing her ex-fiancé, Tim Bamberry, for the return of the engagement ring. Jessica claims she was the one who paid for it.
Mr. Roberts, you and the defendant were engaged. The engagement didn't work out. Some convoluted story that the ring that was purchased, which I assume is in that box, which was your engagement ring, was purchased and your credit card was used. When you broke up, the ring went with Mr. Bamberry, and you want him to pay for it.
Somewhat.
Well, you don't want to be stuck with the payments without the ring, right?
Exactly.
How much was the ring?
Total, I think it was $3,500.
It was 35 something. I don't have, it doesn't show me the total amount here. It just shows me the last balance. It's $958.81. That's what's left. He paid most of it.
He paid most of it?
Yes.
So then let's talk about this. Let's talk about what an engagement ring is. Let's say he bought the engagement ring and you say he paid most of what it is.
Right.
You now have it back, right?
Yes.
And that's what I would do if you bought the ring and she kept it. Let's say you put the ring on your credit card, sir, and you broke up and she refused to give you back the ring. You would sue her and say, I want the ring back, right?
Yes.
Because I bought it and I paid for it. You have the ring.
Yes.
She doesn't want to get stuck with this $958. Do you want the ring back?
Yes.
Then you have to give her back the $958. That's very simple.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, sir, when engagement ring is given in contemplation of marriage, the marriage doesn't come off for one that would be you, but you got to pay for it. Then the ring is yours. You can sell it, recoup whatever you can get from selling it to a private party. Can I see the ring? Just because I'm a little bit of a yenta.
It was designed for me. It was the salespeople that talked me into getting the credit card.
It's very pretty. Before you try to sell it to anybody, clean it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Needs a good cleaning. Okay, anything else you want to tell me? Perfect. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $958. That's all. Give him back his ring, Bird. It's his.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You took the sneakers and then claimed they were fakes.
We did a UV light test, which is an indicator of them not being authentic.
Sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're a bug.
Judge Judy.
I just wanted the ring paid off. I wanted no more ties to each other.
Well, I was hoping that, I could at least try to recoup some of my losses.
We just couldn't communicate with each other to come to a resolution.
Probably because we still were kind of, getting along at one time, and we just tried to do it, and we just got back in each other's faces, kept yelling and screaming.